Pastor Chuck Blair here. Great to have you joining me this morning yet again for 10 minutes of morning common. And today what I want to chat with you about is this amazingly harsh line in the Bible that it ranks up there. There's a couple times where people ask sort of rhetorical questions. And these rhetorical questions are totally freighted with this really sad spiritual perspective. The one we're going to look at today, and then there's another one much later on in the Bible where Pilate asked Jesus, "What is truth?" An incredibly cynical question. And today's question is sort of the same that we're going to read out of the Bible, and it's an important question and important again. It's not about us looking at this part of the story, making judgments out on others. It's about looking at the story and seeing, well, what does this have to do with my spiritual journey? Where might I actually be doing this? So here's the context of it. So we've been looking at two brothers, Cain and Abel, and seeing them as picturing both this concern for what is right and this concern for what is loving, and how sometimes the need to be right can actually overwhelm the need to be loving in a homicidal way. It can actually destroy that in a sad way. And so that's where we're picking up the story here. So Cain has slain Abel. That part of our brain, that need to be right, has decided to totally overrule the need to be loving. And I just want to pause on that for a minute. That's just really let that sink in. Anytime we value being right over being loving, we are wrong. Period. End of story. I think that is just an absolute irrevocable spiritual truth from a Christian New Church perspective. If we value being right over being loving, we will be wrong every single time. Now, again, important caveat, there are times to be right, absolutely, but even that has to come from a loving place. So there's my little side rant for you. Now, hopping back into the story here, Genesis 4, verse 9. And Jehovah said to Cain, "Where is Abel your brother?" And he said, "I don't know. Am I my brother's keeper?" Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful way of putting together a key human dilemma there. Am I my brother's keeper? That is an age-old question. Am I my brother's keeper? Am I my sister's keeper? Am I responsible for other people? And the way the question is asked there, the obvious answer is yes, actually you are, right? That's not talking about codependency. That's talking about a deep form of care. Now, I want to give some other language around that I think that's super significant. A constant debate in spiritual circles, and I see this with clerical circles, of which I'm immersed in this week. We can get very enamored around this idea of private salvation and totally forget the idea. No, there is a part to that, right? But the most important part is public salvation. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means our spiritual journey. We can so privatize it that it's just purely about us, that it puts us in our little world and keeps us at all from reaching out, touching other people, interacting with other people. And the hard part is we have found a religious justification for doing so because it's just my own private salvation. That's all I can worry about. That's all I can concern myself with. That's dangerous stuff because salvation has to have a public component to it. It has to have an outward living. It has to have a place where we go like, "Oh yeah, I am my brother's keeper. Oh yeah, I am my sister's keeper." Now, to draw a little circle around this, I want to come back to a 10 minutes of calm I did a few days ago. It's the idea of as we're thinking about that public versus private, and there is a part for private salvation. We do have the inner work we need to work on, but we also got to really focus on that outer work, that loving part. Um, is that idea of how do we organize our life? Do we organize our life around serving needs or about protecting beliefs? And I think the beliefs approach to it, that the beliefs are central, comes down to this very privatized faith. And if we're really out there to serve people's needs, that will actually pull us into a public form of faith, a faith that is much more the lived moral experience. Great phrase there by an author, the lived moral experience. So a simple example of that, and I mentioned this before, but I want to circle back on it. A few weeks ago, working down at a homeless shelter, someone down there almost passed away from an overdose while we were serving. And that's not a rare occurrence in that part of the Philadelphia where we were serving. And it was just really interesting watching how people just rallied around, took care of business, took care of the guy. He survived, did what they needed to do. They were serving a need. They were serving a need. So here you have this large thing, this large meal that's taking place, serving a couple hundred people. Bunch of different faith perspectives there. You had the New Church Live folks from a Swedenborgian perspective. You had the amazing Franciscans, and no doubt many other groups as well. And we were all serving there because of need, and because of that it worked, and because of that there's this experience of public salvation. Now I don't mean salvation as in saving the public. I mean this idea of healing, that we're all part of this to heal the world. Now just imagine a totally different scenario. Imagine we got those same people in to argue about theology, and we said no, beliefs are the most important thing, we're going to get together and figure out all our beliefs. It would be a miserable evening. I never would have gone. And just in a million years I wouldn't have done that, and neither would anyone else, or most anyone else. Folks, that's so big, right? That's so big. We have to remember that there is their inner work that we have to take care of. There is, and not the beliefs are not important. But if it's just all about us and all about our perspective, all about that Cain part that is only enamored with being right, that's only enamored with their own thoughts and has created their own sort of echo chamber, um, that's the part that will be totally unable to see any responsibility for other people. And yet, that is God's consistent message. Am I my brother's keeper? Am I my sister's keeper? The answer is yes, you are. You just are. And when you see it, that old thing, you spot it, you got it. And that's our job, is to do as best we can. Now obviously will be times where we have to take a step back, where we have to release relationships. That's totally prudent and as God would have it, and that's a wise thing to do at times. And we still need to be coming from that basic perspective that Christianity actually is far more about public salvation than private salvation, far more about how we interact with the world than just merely the beliefs that get batted back and forth in our own heads. And if we get too enamored with belief and we move away from need and the love that will propel us to serve that, we're going to miss it. We're going to miss it. And we're going to ask, I mean, with a smile, we're going to ask silly questions like, am I my brother's keeper? Like, yes, yes, yeah, of course. Of course, we all are. And that's where we can really find a blessedness in life, folks. So be thinking about that. Are you your brother's keeper, your sister's keeper? Yes. Be thinking about what are the needs we can share, what are the needs we can serve, and how do we make sure that we haven't completely privatized faith to a degree that we're just not interacting. We're just not interacting as a healing presence in the world as best we can, as imperfectly as we can. We need to keep doing that. So that's my thought, dear friends. And what we're going to do now is we're going to do a little meditation, a little prayer, a little blessing, and then we'll say hi to folks on social media. So with that, let's get a little breath. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, and bring you home. Amen. All right, friends. So let's give a little cheery hello to everyone on this Thursday here. And just FYI, it was super fun yesterday. I did a presentation to we have clergy meetings this week. Did a presentation on this 10 minutes of morning calm, which sure was fun to do and be able to share with folks the wonderful time that we've been able to have together all these months here. All right, so let's say hi to those who've left a comment here. Um, Kim writes, "Good morning, all morning," and totally agree with that, Kim. Wishing everyone a good morning. Sherry, how did your talk go yesterday? Uh, yeah, per 10 minutes. Yeah, it was really fun, and it just brought to mind um, just how much church is changing, and how we reach out to different people in different ways. We had, I mean, it's kind of weird yesterday. We had over 300 people, tune in throughout the day to the little 10 minutes, which was pretty cool. Patricia, thank you for the heart there, my friend. Paige, good morning to you. Susan, good morning as well. And Marcus, always good morning to you. And I see a number of other people who've joined us there. I see a couple like John has joined us from down in Maryland. John, great to have you joining us, my friend, as well. So, folks, wishing you all the very best. God bless. May you have a day sort of being each other's keeper, if that makes sense. Have a beautiful day. Take care. Bye bye.